Okay,
Hello.
right, we want to welcome everyone here to our work session here on our Cottonwood Heights City Council, and this is Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. And so we're welcoming everyone online and that's here in person. And we'll begin with a review of our business meeting agenda. And after the Pledge of Allegiance, we have our city council committee report. So each one of us will be able to give a 3-minute report. And then we have our citizen comments. And we will forego, right, the finance report.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know if we need to, we'll do it next time. Do we need to continue or do anything with that, Shane?
I don't think you need to continue. I just
Acknowledge it.
pass over. Yeah.
This report will happen later.
I have some question on our individual reports. July, there's not a lot of activity for many of our committees. Does everybody have something from the committees?
I do.
from July?
Yeah.
We also struggle with parks and those.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. I was just wondering if this- I haven't had-
Agree.
We're gonna work.
Yeah, I have. So there's,
Ready this time.
Yeah, okay. So yes, we don't have to take the full 3 minutes.
Great.
Okay. And then we have action items, and we have consideration of ordinance 470, amending Cottonwood Heights sections 1934-050 and 1934-060 and 1934-100 regarding residential multifamily zones. Is there any desire to talk about this in this meeting? Does anyone have questions for Jim?
I talked to Jared earlier and had some questions. I think he kind of answered mine, but I know, yeah, go ahead.
Well, are these primarily driven by this Ivory development?
No.
No, these have been in the works for,
Yeah, so,
just explain kind of the catalyst for these changes?
yeah, if you remember last year, the project that was brought to the council for a rezone next to the old, or next to it's the old bank project
Wells
on
Fargo Bank?
Babel. Yeah, so in that meeting, we had talked with the applicant about adjusting the setbacks from the street to allow a shorter setback so that there could be more buffering from the properties to the north. So that was really what got us thinking about it. And then since that time, we've had several, not necessarily applicants, but people approach the city wanting to do, multifamily townhouse type development. And the really big setbacks have always been a constraint. And it's also been challenging explaining to the applicants or the potential developers what the standards are for townhouses, because right now the multifamily zone is really only specific to like an apartment building, not a single family attached product. So these amendments help address that, provide some clarity. One of the inclusions is that the side setback for a single family attached is 0 feet when it's attached to another structure. And then it clarifies that there's a 10-foot setback between buildings if you have 2 buildings with attached units. So
10 feet between buildings?
yeah, so end units shall maintain a minimum 10-foot setback from the exterior side property line or the end unit. It's next to that one. And
What,
then,
enough to get a garbage can in between the path?
yeah, our landscaping fence, and that also meets fire code stuff as well. So it's really clarifying current practice, and then removing some barriers that we found with specifically townhouse type development.
Thank you. Any other questions on that?
Well, he'll be running us through something, so may I ask my questions if they're not answered within his presentation?
Yeah, now would be the time. I don't have a formal.
Yeah, this is
Oh.
separate from, this is
Yeah,
for the.
well, I know we're talking setbacks, but one of the things I'd really like to see our city advance and consider is if one of the tenants of our general plan, and certainly our update on Fort Union Boulevard plan, and it would be great for Bangor Boulevard especially, is fronting doors and windows onto streets to make for better walkability, putting parking in the rear. I'd like to see our city really consider where it's appropriate alleys that would let the trash cans, instead of blocking the bike lanes and the pedestrians and such and be so unsightly, it would take care of many things. It would make our community much more walkable and I just wonder if you have any insight on that topic of
Yeah.
considering that as we redevelop, obviously.
Yeah, it's a great point, and that's generally something that we would include in a district or area where walkability is obviously more prevalent, so the town center area potentially could be a candidate. Those types of features are generally found in a more, like say, walkable, urban, compact type development, so it's definitely on our radar, and the general plan actually includes a vision for that, so that would be something that we would look at changing the ordinances for after the general plan's adopted. But
I
that,
mean, I see it tying in with our desire to create some missing middle
Mhm.
housing inventory and
Yeah.
smaller, yeah.
Yeah.
Lots and such, yeah.
But yeah, those features are definitely on our mind. It's a little tricky to try to shoehorn that into our existing framework, just because the RM zone is a fairly broad suburban style multifamily zone. So these fixes are more Band-Aid fixes, but those conversations are definitely in line for the future.
One of the things that I worked on years ago was a crime study, and alleyways are a beacon for crime occurring. Chief can concur with that, and that was one of my big concerns when I started seeing development all over in other parts of the valley and knowing that that's one of the considerations that they had for not having those alleyways. It's just something that I always keep in the back of my mind, knowing that research had already.
Well, it'd be fascinating and I'd be very open to reading more about that. I think in a city such as ours, which is mostly suburban, we don't have some of the blighting and crime that perhaps is in the neighborhoods. that you're
Surprised.
Well,
They come here to commit crimes from other areas and then leave, and these kids have a way.
Well, and some of the most delightful communities I've ever been in cities, small and large, have had these alleyways. It's what you see in Denver. I just spent 5 days riding my bicycle, an average of 40 miles a day throughout Denver Metro from east to west. And the new developments that are coming on there are all townhomes with alleyways where the porch fronts right onto the sidewalk. It's very accommodating for people to want to walk. They feel safe. And the alleyways are in the back, and that's where the trash cans are. The cars pull in and out of their driveway or in and out of their garage,
Yeah.
which makes it much safer for pedestrians and cyclists than all these driveways. Driveways, when people are backing up, is where children get run over. It's where pedestrians have, So I'd be very open to seeing these crime statistics and that, but I think I'd also hope that you would look at all the information that shows how very supportive this is and that it's going on in cities and towns
Oh,
similar to
absolutely,
ours.
trust me.
Yeah. So I know we don't see alleyways in the same way, but I'm a big advocate for seeing us advance that kind of thing where it's appropriate. And I think Bengal, Fort Union, there's certain places it's very appropriate.
They got away from them because you're correct. You have stuff to steal here, so that's why they come. And the problem with
That's why
that,
they all have automated garage doors. So the garage door comes down, it's locked.
right? And so if someone's in the alleyway, is that illegal for them to be there?
No, it's a public road, right?
That's the problem. So that's why people
I
go
don't see
there.
it as
They
a
can't
problem.
show
I
it.
see it as a positive.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
so this is
Thanks.
something we'll explore further, but thank you, Jim, for explaining this ordinance and preparing it for us. Then we have consideration of resolution 2026-55, approving a consulting agreement with Kimley Horn and Associates for comprehensive safety action plan services. Ben, do you want to?
Yeah, so this is a discussion that we had planned to have today. Matt Ship is out of town right now, and so we discussed postponing that discussion until next council meeting so that we can have a more thorough discussion of some of the nuances of that, so.
It's great.
So we'll make a motion to.
Continue it until the 4th, I suggest, and then if it's not ready on the 4th, it could be continued again, but it should be continued to a date certain, so August 4th.
Anyone ready with?
Well, we would have to motion at the business meeting.
Okay,
That's an action step we can't take in a work session.
that's true.
It's just an explanation of what to do. in
Great.
business meeting.
All right, then we have, thank you, Ben. Then we have consideration of resolution 2026-56, approving appointment of an advisor for the Cottonwood Heights Youth City Council. And this is Jesse Curtis, and he came to our last meeting, but he's not here today. More discussion?
I met with him, thrilled that he's willing to step up and that we're putting in place in this organizational structure, someone who could move forward if the current advisors decide that they need to pivot and do something else. So he's gonna be fantastic.
Okay. Then we have 6.4, consideration of resolution 2026-57, approving a consulting agreement with Shane Topham for city attorney transition services. And we know that we will need them. Shane has a wealth of information for our city and understands things and cares about our city tremendously. So it's very needed that we have a transition. Any other comments? Then consideration of resolution 2026-58, approving an employment agreement with Todd Sharon. And this is for Todd to be our city's attorney as of the 6th of August, 2026. Any discussion here?
Yeah, I have one clarifying question on severance. On the severance, one of the questions that I had is for the latter 3 months, I think it mentioned that if he doesn't get employment in Salt Lake County, then that 3 months can continue. I just wanted clarification on that. Because it may not, I may be thinking it's an issue in my mind and it's probably not. So for instance, if you were able to get employment, let's say in Utah County, how does that work?
Well, I think it says Salt Lake County. I think that Todd is coming here in part to decrease his commute that he was facing in Harriman. And so, having him then be expected to go to Utah County is just a little bit different thing than he is buying into. So anyway, yes, it is intended to be Salt Lake County, I believe.
Well,
I think that's what it
Harrison's
says.
in Salt Lake County.
Right.
I guess my quick question was, is if for some reason that happened, I don't foresee this ever happening, by the way. Let's put that out there. This is not something anyone's planning on. Just my question is if you get the first 3 months, but then somehow he were to get a job in Utah County, are you then still offered the additional 3 months because it was not in Salt Lake County? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just reading through this again.
I don't think that's probably not.
It doesn't specify Salt Lake County that I can see here. Todd, yes,
Okay.
sorry. Comparable position means employment located within Salt Lake County. Yes. Well, it is within Salt Lake County.
So I kind of concur with Councilman Polton. Can't that just be stricken from the contract? I don't see that it has any bearing. If he gets some additional employment, then we don't continue to pay the severance, whether it's in Salt Lake County or not.
Again, I've tried to explain my understanding of why Todd is even interested in this position. And instead of staying in here. And part of that is saving 6 hours a week in commute time. And so I think that that's probably something that's important to him. He is here. He can speak to it if he likes, but in any event, this is what has been negotiated and Todd has agreed to conceptually. So if there's a desire to change that, why then Todd will have to speak to what that means to him.
Yeah, so I'm comfortable with moving forward with what we have. We've had time for this discussion, and it's hard to change a contract, right? This late of time in my mind.
Yeah, I don't want
I'm
to.
okay to move
I
forward.
don't want to mess things up, that's for sure. I don't have any intent there. I just seemed like I wasn't sure what the intent of that was.
I think it's to limit commute time.
If we don't say Salt Lake County, then what does that mean? Does that mean Bridge, Alaska? So we're trying to keep it geographically confined to something that he finds palatable, and I agree that Harriman's in Salt Lake County, and that puts him back to a 6-hour commute, but if we don't say Salt Lake County, well, then we're going to have to come up with a radius, 50 miles, 100 miles, whatever it may be, and in substitution, because I don't think it can just be open-ended geographically.
Yeah, I understand.
Then we have, thank you for this discussion, and then we have 7.0, the consent calendar. And seeing as our minutes were not available until I think Monday, this will probably be something that I will ask for a motion to move that to the August 4th. And then coming back to our work session agenda, we have reports, and the first one is our historic committee report from our chair, Jim Kitches.
And I had sent over a PowerPoint. Is that possible to pull that up? But I'll start off just by thanking the mayor and city council. I always appreciate the opportunity to give you a report on what we've been working on as a historic committee. I kind of broke this presentation up into reporting out on what we've accomplished since I was last able to meet with you, which was, I believe, last August, and then offer a little bit of detail on things that we are working on and that we'll be putting energy into to finish out 2026 and start 2027. So with that, the first thing I wanted to mention was work that was accomplished last year and kind of culminated in a celebration last November when we were able to have the Butlerville Monument erected right outside Butler Elementary. We felt like that was a really great collaboration with Canyon School Districts, with Butler Elementary. We're proud of that monument, and we hope that everybody enjoys it and can learn a little bit about the city's history when they walk by it. We also, as a committee, put a time capsule in that monument. So we will be working with the city to get some information up on our part of the website to detail what's in there and talk a little bit about the contents that are in there, including a letter that we sent. We're recommending that it be opened in 100 to 150 years. So if the monument stays up that long. But yes, that was a big success for us. Oh, thank you. Can we go ahead and jump 2 slides? Really fast on the next slide is the images I put in. Yeah, so that was the monument being constructed and the time capsule going in. The next accomplishment I wanted to update the city on was our effort last year to get some of the signs that are around the city that show the different historic areas replaced. We did an inventory and we found about 20 signs that had just taken a lot of weathering and a lot of abuse. And so we made the recommendation to have those replaced, and they were. The next phase of that is in our discussions, we really love the signs, but they don't really give you a lot of context about what they're actually saying. So when you see a sign that says Union, people may not know exactly what that is. So our committee has spent time this year putting together brief histories. And we have worked with the city GIS team to actually build a GIS map now where you can click in to one of those signs and you'll actually get some historical context. And our intent is to continue building that out with information from our digital archives and make it really a really good hub for people to go and get more understanding of the city, its history, the places in the city, and actually connect to the historic record in that way. The next item here is about our Butlerville Days and kind of how we've tried to organize our work. This was the second year where the committee decided that we really like the idea of organizing ourselves around some kind of central theme or topic that we could then kind of build out of. So our theme for this year, we had called Community in Motion. And so it was a theme around kind of movement. So that has really led to us how we organized the contents of the newsletter entries that we write for the city newsletter. It also informed our exhibit at Butlerville Days. And really we've put a focus in on the movement of water and history of water, the history of roads and road development in our city. And this fall, we'll be touching on sort of the movement of people and businesses, like local economies within Cottonwood Heights, and how that's evolved and grown over time. So that has been a really good way, again, for us to kind of mobilize and put our energy into a focused place. And I think it's gotten the committee really engaged in participating. Hopefully, everyone who was able to attend enjoyed what we were able to do for Butlerville Days this year. We did change our historic walk, and from what I've gathered, that went really well. So some good things to build on for next year. And then the last thing is just continued, so if we go to the next slide, just continued growth and utilization of our digital archives. We are unique in that within the state of Utah, we are the only city that has a resource like this that has been built out and developed, where actual primary resource records are available online for 24/7 citizen access and use. So we just continue to build this out with resources that we find. We've also made it sort of a redundant backup for some of the city records that come out. So copies of all of the city newsletters going back to 2010 are available on there. But anything that we do as a committee, we can repurpose into this space. So the exhibits we build, we create a digital copy of that, we put it up and into this space for discovery and access, so that nothing gets lost. We can just continue to grow and build on what we do. And so now I wanted to move into some of the projects that we're going to be working on, again, late summer, fall, and into 2027. The first is a collaboration opportunity that has come up with now the former Bella Vista PTA. They reached out and they were very interested in potentially working with us to develop some kind of exhibit, physical and digital, that celebrates the school's history and the place it's had in our community for as long as it did. So that's something that we're going to be hitting the ground running with starting in August. I intend to reach out to Canyon School District and see if we can connect on getting some access to the committee for some of the materials that were made available at the memory night that they held for Bella Vista that could potentially be incorporated into some kind of exhibit. In the past few years, we've had the opportunity as a committee to have an exhibit in the fall up in City Hall. So we'd like to kind of make that focus, if we can still do that, make the focus of that this Bella Vista exhibit this year. It'd be a nice thing as we go back to school. The school isn't with us anymore, but it's not forgotten. So that is a project that is incoming. The next slide. Really, I wouldn't maybe call it an area of concern, but one of the only areas that we're going to be working on as a committee is our committee membership. We are currently down 3 members on our committee, and I have another committee member who's on an extended leave of absence. So that is putting some pressure on the committee members who are on there. So some of the efforts we're doing to kind of work on that. The August City newsletter entry from the Historic Committee is all going to be about serving and service. So we're hoping that might get some interest. At Butlerville Days, we did have a lot of information on hand that encourage people to sign up if they were interested. So hopefully we see some traction there. And then committee members are kind of reaching out within their own networks and seeing if they have neighbors or anybody else who might be a good fit on the Historic Committee. So anything that we can do to get the word out and kind of raise awareness, that's going to be a point of emphasis, because we are much more effective when we are fully staffed.
Pardon me, may I interject something?
Yes.
So during the walking tour over Butlerville Days, I went on Friday, and Mark Lentz had a friend or an acquaintance, Ben, I don't know Ben's last name.
Mhm.
But a suggestion for you, Jim, is for the August newsletter, Mark Lentz said, hey, my friend is of the generation that if you don't show him a QR code, he probably won't sign up. He was
Yep.
being a little jovial, but so to that point, if staff can provide a QR code associated with this, and then this gentleman, Ben, who again, since Mark Lentz is a professor of history, I'm sure that this man is highly qualified, and so that's a twofold.
Yeah.
But I know you'll see Ben's application coming in, I'm sure,
Okay.
especially if there's a QR code.
Excellent.
That can be.
Thank you for that information, and I will follow up with Mark on that as well. So thank you.
Yeah.
Is this committee made up of various people from districts? In other words, do you have to balance it out like the
Yes.
planning commission, so you do?
We do, and I don't know off the top of my head which districts we're currently down in the 3 open spaces. So we could find out that information though.
And I know Emma Galendi is very interested in supporting you on that, so she'll be.
Yes, and
I'll talk
Emma
to
has
her
been
over the
terrific to
weekend
work with, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
so great.
Yeah. Okay. So that is going to be something that we're going to be focusing on, is trying to get ourselves back up to fully staffed. On the next slide, really, my report on the old mill is nothing new. It's just that the committee is on standby, ready to help in however we can as the old mill kind of moves forward. The one thing I would report is I do feel very hopeful after the opportunity. When Mayor Binion extended the invite, I was able to go on the April walking tour with the group that organized for that. And I did have the opportunity to talk to the property owners at that time. I do feel pretty confident they are very interested in working with us on preserving all of the great history that their family has gathered over time. So I think that's a really exciting opportunity to potentially work with them, get some of that stuff preserved and have been made available in the digital archives, which would be valuable information to have regardless of what happens with the old mill. So again, we're just kind of ready and willing to help out in whatever capacity makes sense when it comes to the old mill. The next slide is I just wanted to also touch on the working relationships that we have built with sort of the analogs of our group in other cities. There are functional units like the Historic Committee in other places. They all are interested in what we're doing over here. That's usually when I hear from them. They want to know about our digital archive. They want to know about kind of the initiatives we're doing that they might tie into or model on. So I think my update here is we're just going to continue to collaborate and be open to working relationships. Really, the biggest contacts we've had right now have been with the Brighton Township, Holiday, and Mill Creek. But we know there's ways that we can continue to partner. I kind of imagine it looking, at least initially, like more of creating the forums where we can communicate and share sort of ideas and best practices, not necessarily collaborations that are leading to something, but it's those kinds of conversations that can eventually lead to maybe partnerships where, you know, they have things up at Brighton that they want made available online. Well, the story of Brighton and Cottonwood Heights are very connected. Let's connect those stories in some way. So that's an area of focus for our group as well. And then the last item that I had, to just give you an update on where we stand as with our CLG. This is Certified Local Government status. So this is something that the city applied for well before my time on the Historic Committee. Probably, I want to say maybe 2010 was when we applied. What the CLG status allows us to do is partner or work with the State Historic Preservation Office, and they make a lot of resources available in terms of just information about historic preservation of homes, buildings, things like that. But they also make grants available through the National Park Service. So we have taken advantage of that in the past, and I put the two reports that were CLG grant-funded projects. In 2016, we were able to use those grant funds to hire a consultant who did a reconnaissance level survey of historic buildings in the city. That information is now up on our digital archives, and it's been invaluable. Whenever I get a historic question coming in about, can you tell me about the history of my home? Or can you tell me something about my neighborhood? That's the first place I go, and it gives you thorough documentation of the history and everything you want. In 2024, we had a similar study done for the 6 original subdivisions in Cottonwood Heights. And so those two reports offer up a lot of information and possible ideas for future grant opportunities if we were to pursue that. The committee doesn't have anything on deck right now, and the grant cycle, I believe, just closed. So we'd be looking probably a year out. But I do know that our renewal is going to be coming up soon to keep us as a certified local government entity. So we will definitely plan on working with the city if that's still what we want to do, and make sure that we maintain that status. And so with that is what I prepared for tonight, but I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
I just want to, I was able to go on the Saturday tour for Butlerville Days, the historic tour, and it was great. Mark Lentz did a great job, and I just want to commend and remind us all how lucky and fortunate we are to have Jim Kitchus leading our historic committee. You know, he's our deputy state archivist. So that's why we are headed in such a great direction. He knows how to help our city really preserve history. And so this is a great gift that he's giving us as a city of his time and expertise. Yeah.
What resources does the historical committee have for creating and maintaining the website, the digital archive?
So the way that works every year, it is hosted on a platform called Preservica, and Currently, the plan, it's an annual bill, and I want to say the cost to us is about $2,500 a year.
And do you fundraise for that? Does the city pay for that?
That has come out of what we've been budgeted for as a committee in the past. So when we've had, the budget given to us, we sort of just immediately pull that money out for that cost.
Well, I would like to just,
Shane had this
Oh,
down
you
there.
go
well,
ahead.
please go ahead.
Jim, I'm kind of a history junkie. I was a history undergrad at the U, and I restored an 1881 house on Capitol Hill. So
Very cool.
anyway, I'm kind of into that, but I live in Holiday, and one program that they have there that is kind of fascinating to me is you drive around the city and you'll see little plastic signs, election sign type things on stands in front of certain houses, or maybe at the top and bottom of a street saying, this house has a story. And then there'll be a QR code on it. This street has a story. There'll be a QR code. Not enough so that you see them all over, but when you see them, it makes you stop and think and look and take a picture of the QR code, and then it leads you to their site where they have a nice explanation of why that is a significant house or street or whatever. Anyway, I just wanted, I assume that given your collaboration with Holiday's Historic Committee, you're probably aware of that, but if not, I wanted to just call it to your attention.
No, I appreciate that. And that is something we've talked about very casually with them, but I am interested in talking to them more about how they kind of pulled all that off. So
You
yes,
might want
thank
to,
you.
you might want to go over Holiday and drive around, you'll quickly see.
Yeah,
See some of those, and
Yes.
it's a pretty cool thing, I think.
thank you.
Well, Mike, just quick, I just want to also commend not only Jim Kitchus for the long continuity he's brought in recent for many years. And also in my experience as the council liaison over the last, on and off over the last 5 years, it's been astounding to me, the people that sit around that table, from Gail Conger, Beverly Beckstead, Carol Woodside, some of whom are retiring off the committee, but the dedication, founding this thing and sticking with it for year over year over year. And people like Ken Verdoya, I mean, the voice of Ken Verdoya, and on and on. I'm so thrilled that you continue, and it's such a tribute that you bring to not only the history, but to your dedication to the city and community. So thank you very much.
I appreciate that. And yes, thank you for underscoring that. We really do have an amazing committee made up of amazing citizens who are very passionate about all of this. So that's really what makes it go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. All right, next we have Canyon School District. We have Susan Edwards, the Public Engagement Coordinator, Leon Wilcox, CFO, and Amber Schill, Canyon's Board President. So we're happy to get a report on Canyon School District, see how we can be of help.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting us. And we're just really glad our meetings are the same night as yours, but usually in July, we just have one meeting. It's kind of our month off. So anyway, we're just really happy to be here. So thank you for inviting us. And we just really appreciate our relationship with the city and how we work together to, do the best for our community and our patrons. So I want to excuse Katie Dolly. She's also a board member that has part of Cottonwood Heights, but she's out of town. And then I think some of you know this, but we have a new superintendent, and his name is Dr. McKay Robinson. And then because of that, he was assistant superintendent. We have a new assistant superintendent, and her name is Dr. Mindy Robinson. So anyway,
Thank you.
kind of
Our former superintendent was
was Robbins. I know.
It's a prerequisite to apply.
Just kind of start with a Rob, and then you're gonna get it. And then I just want to talk a little bit about Bella Vista. So, I mean, it was mentioned their memory night, and that was just really great. We had a really good attendance. So many people from the community were there. And it was really fun to see like a lot of the teachers that have retired. Like my daughter's kindergarten teacher was there. Super fun to like see her, and she actually looks really good. And then we had a clap out, which that was really kind of emotional. It was the last day of school, and they actually do a clap out every year, but it's where they clap all the students out, and the parents and teachers like line the front door, and a bunch of us were there from the district. And anyway, it was pretty emotional, but it was good. Then our last board meeting, our board actually voted that we are going to relocate two of our schools. Entrada, which is our adult education, and that right now is at Diamond Ridge. And then Life Skills Academy, which is at Crescent View, and we're selling Crescent View. And then also we just need more space for Entrada. Our adult education is growing, our Diamond Ridge is growing, and so this is just going to allow us to serve more students. But that will be for the 27-28 school year. So it will be empty this 1 year, and then we will have school back in there. So I think it'll be great to not have just an empty building sitting there. Yeah, I know the community, like in our community meetings, people were worried about like, is the building just gonna be empty and is it gonna fall apart? And of course, we wouldn't let it fall apart. Leon wouldn't let that happen. But I think it's good to have it be used, and it'll be used for a good purpose.
Playground, is that?
Yes, I did bring that up at our last meeting to make sure the playground is gonna stay, because I see people using that playground every day.
All the time.
Yeah. So Leon has told me we're not getting rid of the playground. So.
Yeah.
I'm looking at if anything
We're gonna
happens.
stay in.
Yeah, we want the playground to stay. So yeah, it should stay. So. Then also, I just want to thank the mayor. She attended Brighton's graduation, which was really fun to have her there. And I wanted to just do a few highlights from their graduation because it's pretty impressive. It was a really impressive class. There were 550 students. There was 15 million in college scholarships. And then 70 students, which I think is crazy, got 30 or higher on the ACT.
Wow.
Wow.
Like, that's impressive. That's really, and there was something like 40, how many students? There was a really big number of students that all had 4.0s too. It was something like 40 or 50. So anyway, it was a very impressive class. So I wanted to highlight that.
Yeah, is that rare, or could that be attributed to the trimesters and the amount of instruction they get?
I think that's kind of a little bit rare. I bet there's 30 or 40 normally, but 70, I mean.
Unusual.
Yeah, I think that's unusual. Yeah, because 30, that's hard to get 30. Anyway, and then also just another little positive thing to share. Our district was in US News and World Report for all 5 of our high schools. We're in the top 20 in Salt Lake City. Salt Lake County. And then 4 of them, which for sure Brighton is one of them, were in the top 30 statewide. So yeah, our schools are doing really well. And I know there's Niche, which I think they've ranked us #1 district in Salt Lake County. So
Several years running.
yeah, so our schools are doing great. And now I'll turn the time over to Susan Edwards. She can fill in a few other areas.
We just wanted to give you all kudos to Cottonwood Heights. We have several areas where we're partnering, and we wanted to kind of highlight those and as part of that update, a few pieces of information. So thank you, Ben and Matt and Cottonwood Heights for you guys allowing the partnership on the Creek Road study. We've had requests in safe walking routes for years on different things and different pieces. And that study in joint with Sandy City was good information, good to listen to. I think will be productive. I appreciate their good work on that. And then in addition to, as we enter into the safe walking route discussions this year, it gives us some data, actual data to tip back to and some future, I think, for us to indicate, this is being looked at. This is a possible consideration depending on when the plans, come to fruition. But I think that will address a few of the things that have been over the years has been brought forward in safe walking routes. Thank you. I don't know how many of you know, but CSD TV, the students broadcasting for Canyons, broadcast your parade. Always a good time. That's 2 years in a row that you guys have allowed that. And we just appreciate that partnership because it's a great experience for those kids and a great experience for them to learn that being live on a television, not recorded. And we just appreciate that opportunity given to them. Amber and I also serve on your Health in the Heights. And there's several points from that we wanted to talk about. We appreciate the opportunity to share and to coordinate resources and to make sure the residents of Cottonwood Heights know of all the resources that Canyons can bring to the table when so often you find out somebody's searching for something or needing something, and they just didn't get to the right person that knew the resources. So this kind of community joint venture is really helpful so that, you know, we all know how to direct people to get help that they need or to get services that they need. So a few of those are free summer meals for students that we do each summer, and that is always quite beneficial to certain students that can come. Drug and alcohol prevention that we focus on. The Canyons Family Center, they offer classes for families and students in a wide variety of topics, but including mental health, parenting, English classes, prevention, and so that's very useful. Our schools also use that when somebody's struggling, a student struggling a certain way can help them and their family get into classes there at the Canyons Family Center to have some prevention and learning. Suicide prevention. We have food and clothing pantries at many of our schools. And then we also have that at district-wide, we have food and clothing pantries where we can restock the ones in the schools, but also any principal can also let us know that they have needs for a school or a population, and we will get stuff out for them. So we're constantly, our foundation is constantly collecting clothing and food items and school supplies and taking donations. We warehouse those and then we get them to where they're needed. Our Title I schools have community facilitators which work on that front, but then our foundation, which Sean serves on the foundation board, we appreciate. But then they're able to get supplies out across the district to wherever the need is. And so we appreciate that. Last year, I think last year was the first year, we opened a teen center at Brighton, and that has had spectacular results. So teen centers are where teens who have certain services, they may need a quiet place to study, they may need some additional assistance, but they also can wash clothes there, they can shower there, they can get pantry supplies, whether that's clothing or food. And we have one at Brighton. It served 1,002 students, total students last year, 580 repeat students that it served. Now we have approximately 70 McKinney-Vento students enrolled at Brighton, and those are basically kind of considered homeless. But they, but in addition to those 70, which may or may not have gotten services there, but likely did, I mean, additional 510 felt the need to come to this teen center for services on a repeated basis. So we just appreciate having that at Brighton and the people who work with it to provide those services to our teens that are looking. So often Brighton and or Canyons, and I'm sure Cottonwood Heights is considered the wealthy east side. Ever since we split from Jordan, we've been the wealthy east side. But I just always like to point out to people that we have a significant amount of the population who are still in need, and our own students who find themselves in need. And we are quite adept at providing for those needs, but always appreciate the partnerships of local businesses and of the cities to help us with that. So, and then Brighton also offers daycare for employees of the district, and they started last year with 15 slots open, and this year they will increase that to 21, I believe. So some of the things happening right here in the schools in Cottonwood Heights. No?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having us. I'll have to say I'm so excited about those kids who got over 30 on their ACT. I got over 30. But I had to take it 3 times and you had to add them together. Still, gotta hang my hat in.
It's not first joke when I read it, just so you know.
We appreciate our partnership since 2009 as we start our 18th school year here at Canyon School District. We certainly appreciate the partnership we've had with the mayors, Mayor Collimore, Mayor Peterson, Mayor Wickers, and now Mayor Benyon. We certainly appreciate all her support when she was at the legislature for us. So thank you, and we're excited to see the vision of the city as it moves forward. Couple things. As you know, we did close it down after, something we didn't want to do, but we feel like it was the best need of our students was to consolidate Bella Vista and Ridgecrest. We made that decision in December, and we know that there were some tender feelings, and understandably so. Nobody wants their elementary school to close, and we all have, we're all very cognizant of that. But since we made that decision and moved forward with a couple of transition teams, things have gone quite smoothly on both sides. We're excited to start school in 4 weeks. I just met with the principal at Ridgecrest, Sarah Allen, who's great. yesterday and, you know, she's excited we have, I believe, 3 teachers coming from Bella Vista down. The other teachers are going to other schools in the district, same with our support staff. So it's gonna be everybody seems to be excited. Our class sizes are gonna be very manageable, around 24 to 25 there. So we're excited for that. If you haven't been in Ridgecrest lately, we just put in new carpet, should be finished installing this next week. Carpet really adds a lot to a school, so we're excited about that. Also want to just throw it out there. One of the things about Ridgecrest is it's one of our older elementary schools. We have 13 elementary schools that are 50 years, that are over 50 years old. You know, I'm that way, and they need a lot of work, and I did a lot of work, right? So
How old is Ridgecrest?
Ridgecrest was 67, so
And
it's
is there any talk of raising that to the ground and rebuilding?
absolutely. And so we are looking at doing that, and maybe within the next 3 years or so. And we'd certainly want a partnership. I'm not even put it out here right now. We'd like to partnership with you on the park next door, the Anzac Park, on trading ground or acquiring something, if we can, to build there where we have our kids on site at Ridgecrest, because we really don't have another school available to hold them while we rebuild a new school there.
Can I give a little background? Amber,
Well, I just want to say, the whole reason why we moved, so Bella Vista only had 200 students, but the whole reason why we could not move Ridgecrest to Bella Vista, which is in better shape, is Bella Vista is one of our smallest, like physically
Yeah.
smallest elementary schools. And they're like, we couldn't do that. The kids couldn't all fit the Bella Vista. So just a little history, and then
Yeah, so some of the interesting background there is, I think there's a lot of deliberation that happened at the school district, and I think as you look, I don't want to speak for them, but I think as you look at these 2 schools, right? Ridgecrest is definitely a much safer walkable area. It's in a community versus on Fort Union Boulevard. And as you have these people coming in on 7200 South, you have this hill. I don't know if you've been to the Black Playground. I doubt most. I have. But the playground right behind it, you have a large hill, and it's not a great place for a playground. And so you end up having kids that stretch over into the playground that's owned by the rec district instead of the actual school playground. And so some of the discussion that I know that the neighboring community would be supportive of is almost doing a little bit of a land swap of where you have the courts, the tennis courts that are on 7200 South, but then you have the hill, the top of the hill that's utilized, that's the school property, and you could actually make Anzac more of a, I guess, longer east to west, and then the school is on the roadside east to west.
We just rebuilt the tennis courts in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna have to be a discussion for sure with the rec district and the school.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm sure the price tag on building these schools are pretty massive, and you'll have to
Yeah.
see if it pencils, but.
I mean, we've just started the process. If you came to our open houses, we actually had renderings where we had the school sitting there.
Yeah.
Again, that was just asking some architects to do some drawings to get something out there. But that is something that we will be coming to you and the park district about. So we are excited about that, hopefully the next 3 or 4 years.
Before we leave the subject, having toured Bella Vista in the last 2 months, I mean, it's in remarkable condition, but I'm not here to, the decision has been made. I have a real concern about the students who do live north of Fort Union Boulevard. In meeting with their PTA, some of their PTA leadership about 6 weeks ago, I thought that 7200 was going to be the magic way to get kids that wanted to move on foot or bicycle across. And the parents in leadership at this meeting completely disagreed with me. They said that they felt that was one of the most dangerous intersections in their experience. The way that it's somewhat offset. I know we have Ben Nelson from our Public Works Department. So they said, we absolutely don't want any of our children walking or rolling through that intersection. And so there's that concern that you're welcome to comment on, but, and additionally, they told me at the time that their understanding was that busing, which is their preference, for the students north of Fort Union Boulevard would only be provided for a 1-year period of time. Can you
That's not
address
maybe-
either
No,
of
that's
those
not true.
things?
So, yeah, there's two different areas there. So that north of Fort Union, there's two areas. One, under state law, they reimburse us for any student we bus over 1.5 miles. So most of that area is over that amount. And those that are not, in that we have decided that is what we call hazardous busing, because they do have to cross the two busy streets. So we will be busing that, we see that indefinitely, busing anyone north of Fort Union. Those that, east of, I think there has been some issues, those who reside east of Highland, we are going to bus for 1 year across Highland and see how that goes. I know the city has a crossing guard there, across 7200. So, but we have committed to do that for 1 year and then reevaluate that. But those on the north of Fort Union, we expect to be indefinite.
And I would say that area that we're doing for 1 year ostensibly, we'll check it out in a year, but that area is less than 1 mile. So when you
Yeah.
talk about we're reimbursed at 1.5 miles, that area is less than 1 mile to the school. So it's clearly within a walking area. We just want to make sure everybody knows where they're going and the traffic flow works and so we'll give them a year and then we'll evaluate.
Do you have financial resources to perhaps work with the city of Cottonwood Heights on making that intersection at 7200 South and Highland safer for pedestrians and cyclists?
You say, financial resources, what?
Well, there's safe routes to school and there's, I don't know what other resources there may be. But I know I've worked with Susan Edwards, my concerns around Union Middle School, where my grandson goes to school in Sandy. And it was rather shocking to me that there aren't safety measures for those middle school students, in my opinion, and there's various reasons for that. So now that it's in my own city, I want to make sure that we're doing all we can to make that intersection, because these children that already have lost their Bella Vista Elementary School, we should be doing all we can to help them to feel like they have safe routes to get there.
Ellen, a couple of things you said. I think we are moving, I'll look around. I think we are moving crossing guards. I think there have been crossing guards there. I'm not looking at it on the map right now, but we are putting crossing guards there, I believe. Robbie, can you speak off the top of your head about crossing guards, Ben? But
I think that would be. That would be a new addition,
I think.
or had there always been on 72 and
No.
Highland?
I think they
No.
were moving from someplace else to there. I don't want to speak for the crossing
We're
guard.
moving
coordinator.
Fort U, because there were ones at
I
Fort
think so,
Union.
too.
They're
Yes.
probably moving.
Right. Moving
Yes.
them
That's what we
there.
were told about.
Right. But we will also be looking at it this year, but I believe that was what we were doing, was relocating crossing guards to their intersection. So that's one of the number one ways. And for elementary schools, that's much easier than middle schools, because middle schools technically aren't usually covered by crossing guards. They can be in rare instances, but they're not often covered by.
I think when it's an arterial,
Right, but also you mentioned safe walking routes, and it's funny because I've never heard this, and Ben can jump in here if he wants to, but people have mentioned funds from safe walking routes. There used to be, many years ago, if you remember when Suzanne Harrison was in the legislature, she worked on actually getting that restored. There aren't specific funds from safe walking routes. Safe walking routes is a mapping of the areas that students are supposed to walk that we consider safest, and ways for the families to know this is a safe route, and indicate where the crossings are and where the crossing guards are, and just the closest routes, right? But there's not funds attached to it. So the funds come when us and the city's partner, city or the municipality of any kind, makes a grant request through a variety of funding, makes a grant request. We partner with it to say, yes, this is part of our safe walking route. We really need this. And then that comes into play. That's kind of how we partner. But as far as funds coming to the district to do that, or the district having those funds, that falls usually in the municipality. Not saying we can't look at anything, but just that's typically how.
yeah, I mean,
funding
I
works.
think that, the general public, if we were to look at the marketing materials that are available on websites, et cetera, UDOT indicates that they're so supportive of safe routes to school, but in fact, when push comes to shove, you find that
And we know that,
there's
yeah.
really not the financial support there, which I know we're not here to discuss state legislative items, but you know, what could be more important than our
Yeah.
children?
Right.
We take our safety of our children, that's always our most important thing. So any suggestions you have, we'd be open to exploring it.
Well, there's alignment things that we don't have time to discuss at this, but I would love to have a meeting, you know, perhaps, you know, with Public Works or include our planning department, but to really look at that intersection, because I've never perceived it. Again, I won't get into the details here, but I was surprised how this PTA leadership from Bella Vista was just hands down, their perception of the danger there was severe.
We've heard.
Great,
Yeah,
thank
that-
you.
I will say, as part of the Highland, for the rebuild of Highland that we talked about last time, the part of that is restriping and looking at fixing some of the ADA issues that we have at that intersection. So I know there are, you know, some, they're not crazy, but some higher visibility crosswalks and ADA improvements and sidewalk improvements along in that intersection area to make that a little bit more accessible for the school children.
Right, good.
Just a couple quick things, a couple of the capital items, we're putting new boilers in at Canyon View up the street. I know they don't need them today, but hopefully come January, they'll have more efficient heating in that building than they have been, so we're excited about that. As with you know, inflation has caught us all. You know, it's hurt all municipalities, so we will be going through our truth and taxation as you guys are. Will be ours will be about getting about a couple, about 2.2 million for our employee compensation, but we will also start switching our debt to our capital levy, which is going to require a TNT hearing. The net effect between the two on the average homes, which is 770,000 in Canyon School District, net effect is about $72 on our certified rate, but our debt rate will go down about $45. So netting out around $27, $28 on the average home. Again, you all know how that works, and everybody, no one's average, but it's how much your value of your home increases and everything like that. You know that as well. So that will be coming. Our hearing is 2 weeks from today, August 4th. And then we're also excited about our Canyons Innovation Center. That's the last thing I have, opening a year from now. So we're under heavy renovation on that. It's the old eBay building down in West Draper, but we're excited for the Brighton students to make sure they have access to that. And so that's something that we've been long committed to and working with the school's administration and their SEC and making sure all the kids have access to that. So, you know, we're really excited about how getting kids from, you know, high school to career or college and for both, and moving them forward that way, the opportunities that they'll have there. So that's all we have. But is there any questions or comments you may have?
There's another area of impact, and I'm a little biased about it, and that's Pier Court. Talk about that a little bit.
We can. Yeah.
You go ahead.
We have one of only 2 district ran Pier Courts in the entire state. Sharice Hilton, many of you know her. She helped get that up and running and is just doing a spectacular job. So every school can refer students that have lower level disciplinary issues to Pier Court. Pier Court brings in the students and their parents. They both have to agree to it. So if they don't, they have to want to be there. And then at that point, the police don't pursue the charges that might otherwise be, or the school with other issues. So they get the chance to come to Pier Court, talk about it with a court of their peers. Every high school in Canyons has representatives on Pier Court. There's 30 judges, but they never sit on a case from their school. So if they have any relation to the cases before them, they don't hear it. But the other judges are quite good. Sean helps get Supreme Court justices to come and help train them. And they're just a spectacular group of young people who are very fair-minded and love the kids that come in front of them. And without fail, I listen to the parents. Sometimes when they walk in the door, the parents, a lot of times the parents are not happy. Their kids misbehaved, or they have an issue, or they're dealing with something at school, and they come in and they're just like, why do I have to be here? And almost without fail, with very few exceptions, they leave with tears in their eyes, hugging Sharice and saying, oh my gosh, I didn't know the support I would feel from here, because they come up with a disposition form. So they have to have grades and attendance are always part of it. Then they have to have something else, and they are really gifted at looking at what's important to that child. So a lot of times one will say, you know, I really want to play football. And they may or may not have the acumen to ever play football, but she'll find somebody in professional or in college to talk to them and talk about, you may want to do this, but besides wanting it, you've also got to behave in such a manner and earn that right to be able to do this. Or they may want to wrestle, or they may want to become a firefighter. And so she'll work out something for them to have a professional mentor and somebody to say, that's a great objective. Here's what's required, and here's what you need, you need to straighten up and have good attendance and fly right to be able to get this opportunity someday. And for most of the kids in that peer court, that come before peer court, it works tremendously well. They can only come once a year. And so if they have continuing problems, they go other paths with their discipline, but it is spectacular. We do have some cities, I don't know if Cottonwood Heights has a youth court. We do have some cities with youth courts, but we have been partnering with, I know Draper at times and Sandy at times, to take their cases that are more than they can handle. Has to be school related, has to be something on Canyon's property or Canyon students, but it's quite a spectacular program. Thanks, Sean, for.
And they have a swearing in on August 26th. And Justice Jill Pullman will be doing that swearing in for them. So
And we appreciate
if
your
anybody
efforts
wants
in
to go
getting
see
him.
it,
That's
yeah.
great.
What's the difference between a youth court and a peer court?
For us, it has to happen, it has to have a connection to the school. So it has to be, we have plenty of discipline problems to
Youth
to
services
do
is a whole different, youth court is a whole
Youth
different.
court's a separate.
It's under the Salt Lake County Youth Services.
State and state, so,
Okay.
yeah, they kind of split.
Well, I added that to my calendar. Thank you. Yes.
Sorry, I hope you'll excuse me for talking more than I usually do in this meeting, but sitting here tonight, it's just been delightful for me to listen to this. To me, this is local government at its best, sort of collaboration. When I started in this position, Jordan School District, an enormous district whose attention was mainly focused on the southwest quadrant, was a school district. And so I sat through many meetings early on about the concept of splitting Jordan District and whether the city should be involved in that, and did my part as I was asked to, as the city leaders pursued that in concert with the other cities. And so looking back, this is just wonderful to see this sort of collaboration, exchange of information, familiarity, knowing who to call when there's an issue, and get it resolved at the best level. So anyway, just kudos to all. And it's been my pleasure to work with Canyon School District over the years.
Thank you.
I want to clap for them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shane, for that.
Well, Canyon has just great people. These are three amazing individuals, and we appreciate our collaboration with you. And I was able to go to the teen center and tour it last year, and if any of our council want to have a tour, I know they would welcome you to come and see the many services that are offered there. And it's a way for us. I've at least sent one of our residents to donate and help through that avenue. So we are grateful for all the things that we do.
Thank you. Thanks again for having us.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll turn to our charm event recap from Robbie Overson. He came at an earlier meeting thinking he was on the schedule, so we appreciate him being patient and coming today again, and thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I am stoked to be here. I am. So let's see, you're Jimmy, you want to slide?
Yeah.
You are not.
No. Cheers, got it.
Oh, you do. You got them?
You're good.
Okay, perfect. All right, so, first of all, thank you for letting me be here. I appreciate it. Like I said, I am stoked to be here, partly because we are really trying to get the word out about who we are and what we do and the service that it is to the communities, really in the state of Utah. So my name is Robbie Overson. I'm the Vice President of Utah Recycling Alliance. It's a local nonprofit. We specialize in educating the public and providing services to, really, it's more like Wasatch Front at the moment, right? But we're trying to expand our different programs. We have 6 different programs that we run. One of those is called the CHARM event. That's an acronym that stands for Collection of Hard to Recycle Material. So I feel like when I say hard to recycle material, it's like it's the material that's hard to recycle. Now, there is some truth to that, but really it's really access, right? So if we think about the material that belongs in the blue bin, you can really narrow it down to about 3 different items. You got metal, paper, and certain types of plastics, right? So what do you do with all the other material? Those are not, that's not a very big list of items, right? So what we do with our CHARM event is we're giving you people access to things like how to recycle mattresses, scrap metal, bicycles, and you'll see the list here in just a second. But the point, or styrofoam, right? Those kinds of things. And the point is just to help people to understand through our different programs and social media and website and those kinds of things that say, hey, look, in our experience, people have a lot of material in their garage, in their house, wherever that they are just holding on to because they're not sure how to get rid of it. So what we're trying to provide is access to our goal is to have 1 CHARM event per year per city. Okay, so if we can do that, then that means that's at least initially along the Wasatch Front. So that way that we can get to every community. And if maybe you missed it in your community, you can have, we're going to be in Holiday soon, or Mill Creek soon, or Sandy, or something like that, so that people can dispose of that material properly. Okay, and I know there were a couple people in this room who went to the event. I know you two were there. Was anybody else? I know, Ellen, you wanted to go, you were out of town. But you appreciate you being there. It really does make a difference every single time we have an event and either the mayor or the city council or people from the city show up. It's really impressive to see your city in action. And one of the things that I want to go through, go ahead and go to the next slide there. Actually, yeah, that next one was actually perfect. Okay, so we serviced 304 vehicles at this event. Now, that may be some mysterious number to you, but I'm just telling you right now, that's the largest event we've ever had by like 22 vehicles. Okay, that's impressive, right? It's amazing, right? It really is. So that's 100 cars an hour, and we were working our butts off.
So efficient. It was.
Wasn't it? No,
so-
thank you.
yes.
Please tell me
Yeah.
what your experience was.
Yeah, it was very
Well,
smooth.
Well, we also do a shredding event, and that's just painfully slow. It's difficult to manage. But you had enough volunteers there that you got through that line. It was very pleasant. It was very positive. I just thought it was a fantastic.
Awesome.
And the way that you executed it was.
Yeah.
remarkable.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Right. It's well executed. And I understand that you have some history with Utah Recycling Alliance. Is that right? With Jared Utgard?
Yes, I've
Yeah.
tried to be on their board, but I don't know how well it's worked. The
Okay.
meetings that we planned, but I just want to share, when I was in the legislature, I served on natural resources, and we had the Transjordan facility come and share that there are fires, in the solid waste areas, because people put in lithium batteries and
Yeah,
put
exactly.
in other batteries and things that start fires. And
Yeah.
if we don't have a good system in our state for the recycling unless it's through these nonprofits.
Yeah.
So I'm just grateful that we have this resource, because there's too much going to the landfill that is
Too much.
dangerous and not going to do well there. So it's so important that we divert as much as we can, and to see that that many pounds were diverted.
Yeah, 13,824 pounds of material in 3 hours. Like when you see it from the beginning, it's one of the things that I love about when our volunteers come, and one of the reasons I like having city council and mayors at the event, even to volunteer to participate, because first of all, you get to see the beginning of the event when there's nothing in the trucks, right? And then also you get to see the community come out, you get to see the turnout, you get to interact with people, just very one-on-one specifically. And then by the end of the event, when we've worked our butts off to really just see how much material we've diverted. And then when you actually get to see the totals, you're like, this is really impactful. And so that's what we want to continue to provide. Okay, we can go to the next slide there. So this is just some of the pictures. I've never seen lines that long at any event. It was insane, but it was amazing. But also it was, like you said, it was very efficient. We have 2 lines coming in, 2 lines going through, and a lot of volunteers really to help people to separate the material that they brought to us. Okay, the next one. So this just is the breakdown right here, right? So you can see all the material that we collected. There's actually a few more materials, but we kind of combined some of them. So batteries, bicycles, computers, mobile devices, electronic waste, light bulbs, mattresses, metal, oral care, plastic clamshells, plastic film, printers, ski and snowboard gear, styrofoam, tubes and tires and TVs. Okay, so the list is a little bit longer. We just include most of those as e-waste. E-waste is almost always, you can see right there, the e-waste, 4,400 pounds. That's by far the largest group. And that is globally, it is the largest segment of waste that is growing. So being able to have a resource locally is actually really important. And one of the things that I always love when we go to when we have an event is the gratitude that the residents of the area that we're serving are just, they're just like, thank you for just like being here, taking this stuff, because I don't know what to do with it, and now we're providing a solution.
Is
And that's
this resold or given to people that need these things, like
in terms of like the e-waste specifically.
TVs or
Yeah.
things that?
Yeah, so there are certain things that will be, our e-waste recycler is called Asset Works. They're out of American Fork, and they'll basically go through things. They also have a certificate of data destruction, because we have a lot of people that, they're gripping their laptop or their phone saying,
Yeah.
what happens? Yeah, so as soon as it goes into the truck, it's certified to data destruction, and they just demolish the whole thing. But there are certain things that they can do with certain types of devices to actually refurbish them and resell them. Yeah, it's a great
Cool.
question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
it's a great question. And then obviously the graph here, just so you kind of get an idea of how it looks on visually. Okay, you can go to the next one. So the one thing that a couple things that I want to point out here, right? So this might be a little much, but for going from 2026 back to 2025, so you had in 2025, we had 112 vehicles and 5,600 pounds of material, and we went to 304 and almost 14,000 pounds of material. Like that's a response. Like that's the community speaking. Okay, now the one thing that I also want to point out that's not on these slides is right here. So we started here in 2024, and there were 75 vehicles and 4,000 pounds of material. Okay, so this is the trend that we're seeing in every city that we're going into. This is really exciting, because that means people are hearing more about the event, and then people are acknowledging it, like, yes, I want to participate in this kind of a thing. So to go from 75 to 112 to 304 vehicle, that's a pretty good trend. And then to go from 4,000 to 5,600 to almost 14,000 is really remarkable. So, and I don't know if I haven't said this today, but I'm a Cottonwood Heights resident. I live just around the corner, and part of the things that's really exciting to me is that Cottonwood Heights gave me an opportunity. I did my first event here, and it just happened to be my city, and I'm very grateful. Yeah, and then to be able to do, and then when we did the event in Cottonwood Heights, your team said, we will introduce you to Holiday depending on how this event goes, and Holiday said, we'll introduce you to Mill Creek depending on this event goes. And every single time we've increased how many vehicles we've had and how much material we've diverted, and now we have a relationship with Murray City, we have a relationship with Salt Lake City. We're going to have a relationship with Sandy City through the Expo Center. We're working our way to Davis County. So thank you. thank you for giving me this opportunity and giving us this opportunity to prove that this is needed. Very grateful. All right, next one. And this just is a demonstration. So one of the things that some of the data that we collect is how, where, what zip code people are coming from. So you can see right there, 84121, 222 vehicles, right? So that says something about the word that got out, okay, from Cottonwood Heights. And that's actually a really important feature. Okay, and on the right just says where those all came from, right? So you can see.
To our journal.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's actually a really good data point for you guys, and it also is for us because we're trying to continuously track where people are coming from. Okay, next one. Oh, and then we take a survey. We had 61 responses, but this just tells you, right, what was your experience of the charm event? Out of 61 people, 53 people said it was a 10. Right, a lot of people talk about how efficient and how well organized it is, and how grateful people, and how our volunteers are. But then also a lot of people are very grateful just to have the opportunity to dispose of material that they don't have to throw it into a landfill, that they know it's going to go somewhere and just go back into the cycle, because that's what should happen. Go to the next one. And then some of the questions we ask, we just kind of want to test the waters, so to speak. So this one on the left, right? How often do you think the city should hold this event? Half of them said 4 times a year. We do not have the capacity to do that, but we just kind of want to, get the temperature of what people would think. Because if we could do 1 or 2 a year, we would love to do that. But as you can imagine, the logistics of pulling something like that off, it's pretty intense. Anyway, next one. And then just as just some feedback, just to give you a little blip of what people's experience was about, coming to the event. Especially I'm good, right? That's some good feedback. Right? Okay, next one. And these are just some examples. These are from the pictures. These are at the end of the event, right? We had, where is it? We had 51 tires, 25 mattresses, and 14 bicycles. Those are the ones that we keep track of in terms of quantity. I've never seen 51 tires, not an event. The highest we've ever had is 35. Everything about our event here will just literally broke records, which I'm super pumped about. But that just gives you an idea of how much material we collect. Our e-waste recycler ran out of space an hour and a half into the event.
The e-waste recycling?
Mm-hmm.
So what did you do?
So we had a backup.
Good.
Thank goodness. Anyway, so okay, go ahead to the next one. And then also just want to acknowledge that this does not occur without our recycler partners. So if it's e-waste or bicycles, metal, tires, whatever, those are our partners. They are the ones that they show up, or a representative for their organization shows up. We could not pull this off or do this without their participation and their partnership. So we're always trying to give them a plug because of what they do really matters. Okay, next one. And then just some of the pictures of, volunteers at the event. Go ahead and move to the next one. This is just, just a demonstration, just verbally just saying, kind of what we went over. You go to the next one. You can keep going. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So I just want to see if there's anything else I wanted to make sure that I covered. So the point really is that we've had a lot of success here. This is where I started. I would love to continue a relationship, continue to move forward, and we can talk about what that looks like, at another time. But we would love to just continue to participate with Cottonwood Heights.
This would be difficult to do in the winter. You said 4 times a year. Twice a year you do maybe spring and fall? Is that?
Yeah, it just kind of depends. So our season, so to speak, is March through November, just to make sure that we are, one of the reasons why we're excited about Sandy and the Expo Center is we have the potential to do a February event in the Expo Center.
Good.
Which would be amazing. because that just gives us more opportunity.
You mentioned that your goal is to do it once per year in as many cities as possible. If a city wanted you to come back and do one in the fall, is there a way to incentivize your organization to be able to do that?
It's a tough one. We are getting so much more demand right now, but also the other thing is, so what we're trying to figure out. So our initial thing is, we're gonna focus on one event per city per year for the washouts front. There's logistically, it's gonna be a challenge to pull that off. So we'll figure out if I can do more than one per city per year. I'll let you know.
Is your calendar on your website of where they are so that if I miss here, I can go
Yeah.
to Midvales or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we have all of our events listed. We have one in September, October, and November for the rest of this year.
Good.
Yeah, so we had 2 in July.
Your website's not coming up.
Utah Recycling Alliance.org. Oh, really?
No, because I was like, oh, tell me more. I wanted to learn a little bit more, so maybe there's just a.
Well, here's the one thing I will say, like of our programs and, talking about the Charm event specifically, the Charm event is really what is starting to help us to get more recognition. It's giving our other programs recognition. And the other thing that we realize is like, we need to level up on some things. And one of those is the website.
But your Facebook is awesome.
Stay tuned. Yeah.
Yeah, and so one other
Yeah.
quick question. I didn't realize that you could give a certificate of destruction or whatever you called it when you bring your electronics.
It's not necessarily offered at the specific, but just that how it works with electronic waste is that either an electronic waste recycler is either certified or they are not. And if you look up Asset Works, WRX, yep, you can, they're our partner, and then it's guaranteed. But
Because that's why I'm hanging on to all my old
Yeah.
computers.
yeah,
I want
exactly.
My data out there, okay.
Yeah, and they also have a public drop-off.
Okay.
In American Fork. So,
Well,
Thank you.
I have been to 2 out of your 3 Charm events,
Yeah.
and I am thrilled that I have history with you,
Yeah,
Robbie,
same.
and I really commend you for your
Yeah.
passion, dedication, service to the extended community. And
I
I
love
know
this.
my
This is me.
constituents tell me, I want to do more.
yeah,
I want to do my part for clean air, for all the things. We know methane coming out of our landfills is terrible for our air quality.
yeah.
So you are giving our residents a chance to participate in a cleaner environment,
Yeah.
a better way forward. And I am representing my constituents to say thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for being such an advocate. And this isn't just a job for me. This is me. Like, this is how I operate.
And I can say.
This
that
is my
because
commitment to so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll
Any
just
other-
say,
Yeah,
I serve on the board for the solid waste, the county solid waste facility. And so this is definitely direct help for them, not to
Yeah,
have. all
yeah,
these
absolutely.
dangerous
yeah.
bad
Well,
things added to the landfills.
and the other thing is, it's like, our landfills are filling up. Trans Jordan landfill is going to be done within the next 5 to 8 years. Well, if we can divert material that's actually highly recyclable away and put it into the right, into the right hands, we not only stop, putting, unnecessary things in our landfills, but we're able to reclaim that material that has had so much time, energy, money, and resources dumped into it in order to create it in the first place. That's part of the point. So we just need to shift how we do it, and we just want to be the solution part of it.
Well, and 2, something that was very alarming that I learned last year was that with the Jordan landfill filling up and then it's going to mean more vehicle miles on our roadways of these huge trucks moving trash out of Salt Lake County all the way down to the southwest corner of Utah Valley.
Yeah, they do that.
Put that in your mind for a second, having all those more trash trucks on our freeways, through our streets. It's bad in every way. It's dangerous. It's, so landfill, all this stuff going to landfills is something that is societally a real, it's compromising our safety and quality of life over time. So.
Thank you so much for.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll now turn to our staff reports, and the first one, both of them actually are with our CED Director Jim Spun, and first we'll hear about our general plan update.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Let me share my screen here. So I printed out these big papers. So these are copies of the big larger boards that will be displayed tomorrow during the open house from 5 to 7. So I just wanted to print these off and give you an opportunity to skim through them. These boards really synthesize all of the hard work that you all in the Planning Commission had done in the winter to come up with the goals, the vision, the strategies for each element of the general plan. So that's primarily what the consultant will focus on during the open house, is sharing that information and really getting feedback from the residents on, you know, what they think about the content that we put together. There's also some visuals in there to help illustrate what some of these ideas might mean. But as of right now, the consultant has put together a general outline for the plan, but we haven't started drafting anything yet, other than what the Planning Commission and Council have come up with. So tomorrow is an opportunity for the public to come in person to engage. We also have a link. So let me share my
I'm
screen
hoping
here.
to come to that. Can you talk to me about the format? Is he presenting at the beginning?
It's just an open house format. So just come and go as you please.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah. So as part of that, there's a QR code in the top corner, and we'll also make this available on the city's website. But there's an interactive website that anybody can visit that walks through all of this same content in a web format. And there's opportunities here to comment, complete a questionnaire, and you can click through all the different elements and see what, you know, it's very informational. So someone can spend some time here to get familiar with the plan. That's really the more general update. I guess I'd be happy to answer any questions or talk to you about those. I guess just to back up a little bit, I talked to Councilmember Highland about this right before the meeting. Is the goal here is to get public feedback, and then after we've had an opportunity for the public to weigh in both in person and online, probably in 4 to 6 weeks or so, we'll reconvene and discuss with you all the outcome of what we've heard from the community. We can do that in a joint work session if you'd like, or we can do it independently, one with the Planning Commission, one with the council. We're happy to do that however you would like to. But once we present the information, you're all aware of it. At that point, we can decide if we need to make some course corrections. And then from there, we'll start drafting the plan based on all of that information that we've gotten. Councilmember Holt, would you have a question?
No.
Okay.
I have talked to Jim because I actually thought it would be advantageous to meet together at the Planning Commission again, to talk about the general plan as well as short-term rentals. That might be too much for one meeting, and I welcome feedback on that, but because these are both happening at the same time, and any text amendments that we make for short-term rentals would also have to go through the Planning Commission. Plus, you know, the Planning Commission can inform our general plan update. I would suggest that we try to have another joint meeting.
I'm good with that. I'm worried with the joint meeting. I've enjoyed those. They've done nice stuff.
Yeah, we can coordinate something. Probably we want to have enough time to get the word out, so we're planning to put something in the newsletter to let people know. So stay tuned, but we'll shoot for maybe like mid-September to get back together, and then that allows us a few months to get a draft put together. But you all can drive the time.
Thanks for the copy.
We're happy to accommodate whatever.
And could you answer another quick question for me too?
Sure.
Especially because this was short notice. Does this fulfill a contractual obligation for the contractor to hold this public meeting, and will there be another that they also hold, or is that something we have to do outside of the contract?
I'd have to review the contract. I believe they had one in-person open house budgeted, but they have the boards printed. I mean, it's super easy for us to just get the boards and set them up and have another opportunity for engagement. In their experience, the online portal is where you get 90% of the comments. Not a whole lot of people come in person. So I think that's primarily where people will engage, but we're happy to do that as often as we think
probably, is it too late to get something in the August newsletter about people being able to review and make comments?
No, deadline's Friday.
I think that would be super beneficial to
You
have.
saying
August.
online?
Yeah, so that in August, the August newsletter talks about how they can review and then make comments, and then if we're meeting with the planning commission in September, that seems to be kind of a reasonable step-by-step
Yep.
process to get the community to respond, comment, and then review together with planning commission.
And I think, Suzanne, to your point, let's maybe see what attendance looked like, and if we
Sure.
need to have a second one, I'm sure.
I actually agree with that too.
Yeah, and we've already held quite a few public engagement exercises over the course of this
Long-
project, which has dragged on for a long time, but this one's really important because it does nail down the policies and the direction that we received from all the work that everyone did over the winter. So it's really just reaffirming that, like, are we on the right track here with the public, and then moving from there.
Well,
So,
you know, I mean, the public wasn't engaged. There were committees that were engaged
right.
that included a few people from the public.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I will plan to be there tomorrow and hang out. I'm not
Yeah.
too much of a pest to stand there for 2 hours, because I would really like to hear what people say. It just
I also plan to be there.
available.
It makes sense that more people are able to engage online, and I think we could also see how much feedback we're getting there to see if we need another in person.
Sure.
I mean, I don't, you know, since this was only put into the public, I mean, even available to those who get emails, you know, a week ago. I don't consider this adequate public engagement, and I know you're talking about additional things, but I don't know how, you know, the public is gonna be aware that this is going on tomorrow night without it being, you know, in the newsletter. And I still think there has to be some way we can do signage with our these major commercial sign companies or the school districts, or I don't know. I really hope we can work more on community engagement in our at that front of mind for our city.
It is a struggle, isn't it, to get people informed and to,
Well, we have to make it a priority.
And I think having it in the newsletter, the QR code and information about it, that will be a big help.
we have the occasional use of the electronic billboard on Union Park. And someone told me that Heroin actually has a dedicated billboard. And our city was founded because we didn't want more billboards. But when you could use those to actually, when people come into the city, which I'd say a lot of them come in, we've got what, 3 that come on Wasatch, 20th East, and Union Park. And when you can use those to at least get people to think about it, then first of all, they feel like they know something. And second of all, if they do pay attention, then they can engage. So I agree with you.
Well, just like we ask for sponsorships, and you know, nobody has a better relationship with the billboard people than our distinguished councilman here. And so I think, you know, let's work. We ask for sponsorships in other ways. Why not ask for some time on their signs?
This is what we
I
have.
think they give it, don't they?
This is one that we.
So
It's a standing.
It's a public service that they do. It can go on any of their electronic billboards here.
Okay.
We don't get to pick which one.
Oh.
It's a rotating.
Okay,
So
There's
we
only-
could
there's
get
only- so
something
we
out.
can Ask them. There's only a certain amount that they do each year.
yeah,
So
I knew it was
we're
limited.
pretty limited on what we get.
Are we in agreement that we would like to have this town hall, or is that too short a notice? Or just that we're doing the online, just the QR code to get online, or
What was it?
that wouldn't be safe?
What's the URL?
Sure.
Is there a landing page specifically for this that's like, share your feedback on the future of Cottonwood Heights, and something that's very easy to get to?
I could check with the consultants, think about the website.
I went on to the link that was provided last
Mhm.
week. And it was a little bit confusing to me because it talked about a little tiny bit about this event, and then it talked about CH Tomorrow, which I thought CH Tomorrow was a survey that occurred back in 21-22, and that it was a thing we did in 21-22, and then it was done. So I was kind of surprised to see this CH2. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, so that's just what they branded this general plan update, Cottonwood Heights tomorrow. So that's
Carol,
not
were they,
specific to
were they
it.
aware that we did a CH Tomorrow? I mean, it went for 18 months and it was a survey that was
Was
online.
that still the same general plan update back then?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's ongoing,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's the same consultants. They did all the engagement before. So this is just continuing that effort to get it across. Finish line.
Okay.
So then, yeah, the Cottonwood Heights Tomorrow is the brand for the whole general plan update. So when it's printed, that will be the cover title essentially of the plan.
Good. If there's no further questions, we can have a good discussion and we can move on to our next topic, again, under our community economic director, Jim Spung, which is talking about community and economic development department update.
Yeah, so first I wanted to share kind of a refresh of our monthly development report that we sent out. It's still in draft form. We were hoping to get it all buttoned up before today, but I'm going to share with you what we have. So we're creating a new online interactive portal as well, but I'm just going to flip through a couple of things. So that the first page will include some updates on bigger projects that we're working on, which you all are aware of. There's quite a few, the short-term rental project, Granicus implementation, Old Mill assessment report, the general plan update. We have a contract with iWork, who currently does all of our building permit review software. They're going to add the planning module so that we have an online application portal for planning applications. And then we are hiring a new planning technician. We had 11 interviews today, and we're hopeful that we can find someone that's really great. So
This is an underfilled position. Somebody big fits.
Yeah.
right.
Not a new position.
So the next couple of pages, oops. Back.
So this is web pages on our city website? What am I in? What is
No,
this?
right now this is a PDF, but we are making a online portal for online interactive map, essentially, that you can click on and get more information. So building permit information will be displayed a little bit more user-friendly, I guess. So here's just some general information. All of this data is from June. So we're going to finalize and send this out probably in the next week or so. But we're hoping that this provides a really high level information that's helpful for you all to understand what's happening in the department. So here you can see building permit data. These are some trends over the last 12 months. So total permits issued in June were 81, 220 inspections. And then this is broken down by district. And then here's the count for permit activity in any given month. And then here we'll just have some text or summary of a notable permit that we either received or issued for that month. The next page is a map that corresponds with that data, showing where in the city permits were issued and what types. Sorry, it's probably a little hard to see on the small screen, but it's all color coded, and the online interactive version will be more maps that you can hover and click on certain points, and it will give you some information about what that specific project was. It'll be fairly high level in general, just because we don't want to be calling out people in your neighborhood of like, they got a water heater. But it will be helpful if you have questions to say, oh, well, what is this? That will allow you an opportunity to click that. The next one is specific to planning. And again, the format's a little clunky. We're still working through getting this organized in a way that makes sense, but we currently have 25 active planning applications. You can see all the different types here. Last month, we received 4 new applications, approved 9. We had 4 pre-application meetings. And then here we're going to do a summary of action items from all the different meetings that the planning department attends. So here you can see council, planning commission, the appeals hearing officer, administrative hearing, and the architectural review commission. And then we have reports on the committees that we also oversee, PTOS and the historic committee, and then any other events like the charm recycling event. So Emma's done a really great job. She spearheaded creating this report and made a template essentially that it will be really simple to upload the information every month so that it's not very time intensive, which is really great. That was the bigger goal, is to provide the information that we want to demonstrate everyone, but also not take staff's time in creating the report. So this first one was a heavy lift, but moving forward, it should be fairly seamless. And then here, again, is a map corresponding to that information on the different application types, where in the city they're located. Here you'll see any circles with an X means it was an application that was closed out or completed. Any ones with like a little dot in the middle is a new application from that particular month. So there's quite a bit happening. And then we're still working through the business license part of it, but we do have the map here we can show. So we'll have a data page similar to the others that has a breakdown of economic development activity in the community, and then the map showing new businesses and what types they are in the community. This will be especially interesting with new short-term rentals as they come online to see where those pop up. But both Emma and Jacob, our GIS analysts, have done a great job of putting all this stuff together. And this, like I said, this is the static version. We'll have an online version that we'll send out probably for August. I'm not sure how far still we have to go on that. So it's really great to see all this work that the department's doing. You know, this is all being done by 3 or 4 people in the staff. So they do a lot of work with manning the front counter, answering phone calls, emails, intake of permits, review of permits, communicating with applicants, and all that. And as well as all the other projects we have with the general plan, the short-term rentals, all that stuff. So they've been really great assets to the community to help us advance the goals of both the council and keep things operating smoothly.
So this is for council information, but also public consumption, so.
Yeah, so we'll post this on the website each month. It's just a monthly update for what's happening in the city.
That's tremendous.
Great.
This has been a meeting of commendations and good news, and I can't go without giving you so much, kudos for doing this, because when we actually were hiring a city manager, we said that we're a customer service organization. And we want to be a 5-star customer service organization. And this is
It's
a
needed to happen for a
beautiful
long time.
example of that. And so thank you for putting it into a format where not only we as council members, but our residents can see where their taxpayer dollars are going to, what work is being done in the city. It's easily consumable. So great to also see you spearheading automations where everything's done on paper. And when we allow someone to do a license application online, that just reduces their work. It reduces your work. It just says that we are trying to keep up with what's happening, even in private organizations. So, so much gratitude for your leadership. So thank you for that.
What she said.
Yeah, it was, the old development report was a little clunky. I was like, how can we get this thing a little more streamlined? But
That was great.
it was a bit of a, sorry.
And it's great that Emma, it was her idea too, to do which part of it?
Well, she built the template
Okay,
with all the different graphs and icons and
great.
numbers. And she's also been the lead in collecting the data from all the different departments that do this stuff and then plugging it in there, because it's very different. The building permit data comes from iWork, which is the platform we have. So it's exporting an Excel file that has all the information and then plugging it into here. The planning applications are all manual. So those, luckily, we've already been tracking pretty well. And then the business license stuff is from our Cassell program. So Sydney, our business license specialist, exports that information and then we plug that in. Sorry, we stole Sydney from you.
That's totally fine.
But yeah, it's really a great team and we're really excited about this, and we wanted to do this for a long time, but it's been on pause because we had to upgrade the servers because we didn't want to do all the mapping stuff in the old server system. So that has allowed us really to get this stuff rolling. So there's a big trickle down effect of like getting the servers online was great because then Jacob could do the mapping and then we could plug all the data in and have it work.
I just think even having a photo of all of you is so refreshing.
It's my favorite part. And everyone's
so nice.
smiling.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
young,
we
and
love it.
young.
And young, youthful and has energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Show it nicer.
please.
It creates
Yeah.
connection. I mean,
Yes.
just the picture just says,
People
okay,
want to see who's doing the, they want to feel like they're connected to the
Mhm.
people. That's great.
this is
Yeah.
what's serving us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're excited. So stay tuned. We're gonna tweak this thing in our staff meeting tomorrow and hopefully get sent out
Well,
soon.
Great,
So,
Jim.
love it.
Is there anything else that you wanted to discuss?
I
Jim?
don't think so. That was really, really
Yeah,
good.
like
It was-
30 more minutes, fill it up.
Oh.
Yeah, and I guess
Gotta walk.
to Councilmember Highland's point, I know that we're super busy and there's a lot going on, but until we did this report, it was hard to condense it all into one place. And when we're actually seeing like, wow, there were 300 inspections last month and we got
Wow.
15 new applications, and to think that it's a few people processing all this stuff was really eye-opening to say like, yeah, like this is great to have the data points to back up like why we don't have a lot of time
Yeah.
to do a lot of other things. So it was great for us too to see.
Well, the
everything.
optics of it have been, well, we're a built out city. What is, what does planning do in a built out city? And you
Yeah.
guys demonstrated what planning is doing in a built out city.
Mhm.
That's,
Yeah, it's-
it's really important for all of us to see.
mhm. Sure.
Okay,
Okay, so
so-
ready?
Yeah. Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah.
Keeping us updated.
That's very exciting. Thank you. Right, then we just have our review of calendars and upcoming events, and we didn't talk about Butler Bill Days in here, but we will in the future.
Next week.
In the next meeting, and it was great. So next coming up tomorrow, we have a general plan open house on Wednesday, July 22nd from 5 to 7 p.m. and online. We have that code to be able to access it for several, sounds like at least 6 weeks. It would be up.
Yeah, I mean, it can stay up as long as we like. Yeah.
And then we have senior bingo on Tuesday, August 19th at 1 p.m. in the community room. And we have our Cottonwood Heights City Book Group on Thursday, August 27th from 7 to 8:30. We're reading the book, The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt. And that will be in the city newsletter. And we have the Monster Mash Trunk or Treat on Thursday, October 22nd. Hillside Plaza.
Just bringing that up gives me anxiety.
It's hard to believe that it's been that close.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that we're even, wow, that's a few months away.
For a while.
No, I just,
In the grocery store.
someone near it all needs to.
Okay.
Now when Christmas hits, I'm doing
Your Christmas songs over.
Yes.
Oh, no, no.
I have the block party, the annual block party also on October 22nd.
Yeah, that's,
Combining all three together.
oh, you are.
Oh,
So it's gonna be at Hillside.
Mash and the
Yes.
block party.
Okay.
And it'll all be at
What are
Hillside.
the three?
Trunk or treat.
Trunk or treat, Monster Mash,
And
and
block
block
party.
party.
And the theme's gonna be stars, stripes, and spooky nights in honor of American 250.
Dead on this one.
Yeah.
Stars, stripes,
Patriotic.
You are fucking-
What? And terrible. What?
Monsters.
What?
stars, stripes, and funky
And
nights.
spooky nights.
Spooky.
Yes.
This is not a disco party, Suzanne.
We could change it if we want.
We should change it.
This
No,
week
that's
reminded me
cute.
of one other thing we should just make mention of in this work session, which I will talk about in my comments at the business meeting, but just on Monday, we joined a meeting with the Utah League of Cities and Towns and our state fire marshal about fire restrictions for fireworks. And seeing that there has been no great improvement in the environment where the dry fuels, the dry soils, the stretching of our resources to deal with ongoing fires throughout the state and region. And I connected with each of our council members as well, and we've determined that we will have a continued citywide fireworks restriction on these 3 upcoming days when they're allowed, but not allowed in our city. So I appreciate that the police and fire have been quick to respond when I've asked it, and all of our council members were very understanding and supportive of this action. So, and Jared and our staff have been quick to get it up on the website as well. So, and I just want to, I will make note of this in the next meeting, but personally, I have only had one email with any concerns, no phone calls at all with complaints. And the one with the concern was just that he wanted to know sooner so he wouldn't have bought fireworks. But we know they can be purchased and used later. Maybe we'll have a time later in the year, but it would be allowed when it's not so dry. But I just want to commend our residents. Overall, it's been heavily supportive of these actions and requesting these actions, especially in recognition of our veterans who have PTSD and request this. Thank you. I think police officers probably fall in this category.
We do, and I'll tell you, they've been self-compliant. You don't get a lot of calls.
Good. With that, I'll take a final motion.
Well, I motion that we close the work session.
I'll second that.
Okay, and all in favor? Okay, thank you. We have an hour for a stroll or a lengthy dinner. So